if they don't see your vision, it's because it ain't theirs to see, right? Stop trying to explain your dreams to people who are never meant to build it with you. So the doubt is going to be loud, especially from people who you love. Sometimes they try to protect you. They don't want to see you, fail. They don't want to see you sad, and oftentimes it's just out of their own insecurities, something they can't believe they can do, so they think you can't do it. And it's sad that we got to go through that. Even my own father, we fell out because I was interested in opening an assisted living facility. Um, well, first I was trying to open a personal care home, excuse me. And when I looked at the application, it's the same exact application for a personal care home as it is for assisted living facility. The only difference was which box you check. So for a personal care home, you can have a maximum of 4 people. And assisted living, it's 5 to 25 or something like that. So I'm like, why would I not take advantage of the assisted living facility when I'm about to go through the exact same process and cap my earning potential? So I'm talking to my dad about it, and immediately, you want to start small. You don't want to go big and lose all your investment and don't know if it's gonna work or not. You just start, something small you can manage. And I instantly got offended because who says I can't manage, you know, the bigger one? I worked in assisted livings for 3 or 4 years, managing somebody else's business just fine, right? I went from working at a CNA school to building my own CNA school. I did that just fine. So I didn't even have to get upset. I could have just, listened to what he was saying and moved on. But I got instantly upset and offended because how dare you? Like, I'm your son, and you don't even believe in me. That's ridiculous. But it's gonna be people like that, and if it's your vision, it's your vision. It ain't supposed to make sense to nobody else. I mean, you can hire a coach, a mentor, a business strategist, or whatever, to see if it's a profitable idea, and then that's all you need to know. Like if you like in 2025, if you selling DVDs, there might be some money there, but there ain't gonna be a lot of growth in that. They're not even producing DVDs anymore. But if that's your vision, who am I, right? You gotta believe in yourself. But like when I started One Breath CNA, I was trying to get it started. People were saying there's no money in CNA training. Why are you doing that? Or everybody got a CNA school. And everybody don't got a CNA school. Like here in Georgia, you look on the state registry's website, you can put in the individual city. It'll show you each school in each city. Some cities have 3 or 4. Some cities have 0. So that's not everybody. And the piece of advice I was getting, you got to consider the source. The people who are telling me everybody got a CNA school, they didn't have one. They probably didn't even know nobody with one. So where's their input? Where's their advice coming from? And then the other gentleman that told me there was no money in CNA, his perspective was different because he already owned a college, right? He owned an actual college here in Georgia where they offered diploma programs and degree programs, and they have like federal financial aid, like big time, a big time operation. They had like 3 at the time. So he's getting 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 for, each student, and I'm talking to him about a CNA program where the tuition at the time was maybe $800. So to him, he was right. That's absolutely no money. Now this same gentleman and his family, they own over 20 schools. So I'm more apt to listen to what he had to say. And if I'm getting $1 million a month, then I wouldn't pursue a CNA training program either at $500, $600, $800. It didn't make sense to him. But for me, it made perfect sense because I was working for a lady who was paying me $1,000 a week to teach the CNA program. And that was a significant amount of money to me for the amount of work I was doing. And in one of the meetings we held, one of the staff meetings, I heard her talking to her right-hand man. She says she was telling him that the CNA program is their most lucrative program. And that afforded her the opportunity to pay for medical school for her two children. And with the money she was paying me, I was basically running the whole program. So I'm like, if I can do it for her, I can do it for me. And it worked out, and it's been working out, right? I told this story before. I went from making $1,000 a week to $1,000 a day, right? And that is not even 100% accurate, right? So if we do annually, right? Maybe not year one, but so I was working for the one school, $1,000 a week, so that's $52,000 a year. So I went from making $52,000 a year, and then to my second year of owning my own operation, $500,000 in a year. I would have never. It would have took me 10 years to make that working for that lady. And at the time, I thought that was good money. So if I listened to the Ain't No Money in CNA training, everybody got a CNA school, I would have been crazy. You gotta listen to yourself, right? And even if there was a ton of CNA schools, it's not gonna be like mine. I didn't even know when I was working for that lady, she had one of the worst programs in all of Georgia. It was in danger of being shut down. I didn't know that. And when she hired me and another lady to work in her other location, she had 2 locations. When she hired us, we went from like worst to first. I had no clue. Then one day, the state does our annual reviews. One day I just happened to be there, and they were sharing some of the stuff with me. It wasn't like being messy, but it was like praising me. Like, hey, I don't know what your secret is, but she's glad. She should be lucky to have you because you saved this program. I was coming out here to shut it down. And I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. But my wheels turning, like, so I do know what I'm doing. And that's what gave me the momentum to go ahead and pursue my own program. Have you guys seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith? I remember the scene where he was talking to his son. And I think his son wanted to be a professional ball player. And Will Smith was telling him, well, I'm not going to be that tall. I'm about, you're not going to get much taller than me. You're not going to be much better than me. So you're going to be average. And his son started looking crazy. And that's when the lesson came. Will Smith was like, yo, don't let nobody tell you you can't be great. And my son and I watched that movie like 1,000 times. But my dad had that same conversation with me. Where you want to be when you grow up? I want to be in the NBA. And he was like, well, I'm 5'7". You ain't gonna be much taller than that. So, I mean, you can be a great basketball player at 5'7", but you gotta be exceptional. And he looked me right in my face like, yeah, you can't be exceptional because you got a breathing problem. Basically telling me at 9 years old, you can't play basketball professionally. You're not gonna be good enough. And I believed him. That's my dad. He knows best. Never seen me play. I mean, we go out on the court, when he used to go play, we go out there and shoot around and stuff, but as like in high school, never came to one game. Pretty decent point guard. Could have at least went to college. I don't know if NBA was in the cards, but who knows? I would never tell my kids they can't do something. That's ridiculous. I understand a plan B and a plan C, especially, my dad was born in the 60s. A lot of them didn't have what we have, right? This is a different conversation, but I really don't believe in plan B. Like, if plan A don't work, the next plan is making plan A work. Plan B and C, that's like you planning for it not to work. No, I'm doing everything in my power to make this plan work. Another video I seen with Jay-Z, he was like, my uncle told me I never sell 1 million records. I sold 1 million records like 1 million times. So his uncle was telling him, like, are you crazy? Who do you think you are? You can't sell records like that. Now Jay-Z is probably the most successful rapper in the world. But had he listened to his uncle, where would he be? Would he still be like selling drugs and in Brooklyn or whatever? Like, you can't eat. The reason I tell you this is because it'd be your own people. Not to be disrespectful to nobody's parents or loved ones, you gotta listen to you. They made their decisions. They made their choices. That's their business. You can't go through life based on what somebody else fear is. You gotta do your own thing. And it's not about, well, I've said it, y'all know me. I thrive off negativity. So soon as you tell me I can't do it, I ain't good enough in that, I'm going all in on proving you wrong. And that's not really the right angle to take. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving you right. Right? Proving it to yourself that you can do it. Now, if you get some motivation, from outside forces, so be it. What I need you to do is write down your dream. Okay? Something huge. Don't worry about being too big or starting small and then grow. Write it down, okay? And then create 3 actionable steps that you can do this week. Right? If a piece of equipment that you need to get this thing started is $100,000 and all you got is 50 cents, don't write that one down. You ain't quite there yet. But put down 3 things that you can do this week. Get some momentum. You gotta write it down because it's been in your head for how long. We gotta be able to see it. Okay, write it down. 3 things you can do this week. I want to hear about them too. Your vision is yours. If they don't believe it yet, fine. Build it anyway. Move anyway. Trust your willpower. I'll see y'all later.